The girl took out a box of candy and gave it to her father, but father found a finger inside. Her father asked where the finger came from, but she could not remember what happened. It turns out that last night, the girl was lured onto the bridge by a little kitten. She saw an old man in the distance. He was eating a human corpse. Suddenly, the old man noticed her. He crawled right up to her. The girl looked at the old man's pale face but felt no fear. Instead, she gave him a candy. In return, the old man also took out a finger from his mouth and gave it to the girl. Soon, the girl's mother saw a hairpin on the ground and followed the way to find her daughter. She came to take her daughter home, but she did not notice the old man under the bridge. He quietly disappeared into the night. When they got home, they found it on the wall. The words "run away" were engraved, but they do not know the old man they just saw. He is the village's cannibal demon. This is the latest thriller of late 2022. The series Gannibal is officially online today. A few days ago, the girl's father was transferred. He became the local officer in Flower Offering Village. Soon, guided by the villagers, they moved into the former officer's house. Not long ago, the former officer went missing mysteriously while investigating cases in the village, but Officer Dawei thinks the old cop disappeared because he lost his wealth to gambling and ran away to escape debt. By the next day, the villagers enthusiastically took Dawei to tour the village factory. Just then, a man rushed in, reporting that he found a body. Dawei and the villagers quickly went to the scene to investigate the body. The deceased was the well-known old woman of the Fugine family. A villager claimed that the old woman must have been attacked by a black bear, but the experienced Officer Dawei quickly found there were human bite marks on it. However, the more Dawei investigated, the more the villagers denied his suspicions. Some even threatened him with guns to stop the investigation. I cannot stand you insulting the Fugine family. If you think you are looking down on me, watch out or you might lose your head. Got it. I am very sorry. But at that moment, the villagers changed their tune and claimed it was just a joke with Dawei. Then they invited Dawei to tonight's dinner to build good relations with the villagers. Dawei agreed to their request. In the evening, Dawei was about to go out by bike. He received a call from his boss at the police station. The police are now investigating the source of the bite marks on the body. He hoped Dawei will not get too involved, because the Fugine family has significant power in their village. When Dawei arrived at the restaurant, his wife found the wall of the house were carved with the words "run away." Soon, she realized her daughter had been missing for a while. Her daughter was lured to the bridge by a little kitten and met a creepy old man. Fortunately, the wife found a hairpin and successfully located her daughter. When Dawei returned home after drinking, he found his wife lying on the ground. Fortunately, the wife was just exhausted from looking for their daughter and was lying down to have a rest. His wife told Dawei about the words on the wall, but he did not feel anything unusual. He went to see his daughter and ended up finding the severed finger given to her by the old man. The next day, the village held the annual hunting event. Dawei followed a young man to the woods and encountered a black bear attack. In a crisis, the nearby hunter fired his gun. He killed the bear and saved Dawei. They opened the bear's belly and found the old lady's glasses from the Fugine family. Clearly, everyone thought it was the bear that attacked the old lady of the Fugine family. Then the villagers cut up the bear's body and ate it right away. According to their custom, eating the bear is a way to bid farewell to the old lady. Dawei, upon learning this, could not refuse, so he followed them and swallowed the raw meat. But in the evening, Dawei received a call from the coroner. The analysis of the severed finger in the candy box revealed it turned out not to belong to the Fugine family. This village hides many more unknown secrets. The old cop discovered the villagers' secret of cannibalism. He scolded them to come out and confess, but the villagers thought the old cop was crazy. They refused to cooperate with his investigation. You guys would eat people. You actually eat humans. Old hag, come out and confess. You cannibal tribe. Helplessly, the old cop had to find evidence himself. Sure enough, he found bones in the mountains. However, he did not notice a scythe behind him. The scythe was already at his neck. Soon, young Officer Dawei inherited the old officer's position and came to serve in the village. But the next day, they found in the deep forest the eaten corpse of the old woman from the Fujine family. Quickly, the descendants of the Fujine family, dressed in white robes, held a funeral ceremony. Suddenly, the leader noticed an extra person in the funeral procession, and he ordered everyone to remove their masks. The outsider in the crowd wanted to run away, but was surrounded and caught. After the young man unveiled the outsider, they realized it was the old cop's daughter, Xiaojin. She infiltrated the group to find her missing father. The angry bald man nearby grabbed Xiaojin and said her father was mentally unstable and had disappeared. At that moment, Dawei happened to pass by and stop the bald man. However, Xiaojin kicked over the wooden barrel containing the remains, and found that there was no corpse inside at all. It is empty inside, right? I suspected that for a long time. What do you mean by that? Of course, there will not be any remains, because the remains have already been eaten by these people. These people are all cannibals. Seeing Xiaojin disrupt the funeral ceremony, the bald man yanked at her collar again. Suddenly, a mysterious giant charged in from behind, grabbed the bald man's hair. Then the giant slowly reached for Xiaojin. The leader saw this and jumped on the giant, told Dawei to take Xiaojin away. In the car, Xiaojin told Dawei the secret about villagers eating people. The people of Fujine have a custom of eating the dead. They eat the corpses for spiritual merging. And when Xiaojin last saw her father, she only knew that he was heading to Fujine to investigate the cannibalism. But after that, her father never came home again. So she thinks her father's disappearance is likely related to the Fujine family. After sending Xiaojin to the station, Dawei decided to investigate the truth behind the old cop's disappearance. But on his way to the Fujine family, he was blocked by a large tree. Dawei got out to ask the hat guy if he knew the whereabouts of the former cop, but the hat guy pulled out a video of the old cop going crazy and shouting at the Fujine house, then warned Dawei not to investigate any further. As a police officer, Dawei insisted on digging deeper. Soon, Dawei arrived at the Fujine house. He found the front door tightly shut, with no response. A camera peeked out from the window. It recorded Dawei's every move, but no matter how much Dawei shouted, the people inside refused to come out. Suddenly, the mourners at the Fujine house found out. Dawei came to investigate and returned quickly. The bald man picked up a shotgun and threatened Dawei to leave. Luckily, Dawei was agile, dodged the bullets, and snatched the gun. However, the bald man approached directly. He shoved the gun into his mouth. The people from the Fujine family attacked. They thought they could overpower Dawei with numbers. Dawei fought back hard and knocked them all down. You have crossed the line. What? You attacked the Fujine family. That person will not just stand by. The man told Dawei that this village has its own rules for survival, but now Dawei has broken the rules, and soon, he will face the curse of the demon. Meanwhile, the police forensics found the results of a severed finger from Dawei's home, confirmed that the severed finger brought back by Dawei's daughter belonged to the old cop. However, at this moment, Dawei was arresting the people from the Fujine family, and taking them back to the police station, so he did not receive the call. The old man in the house rushed out, asking Dawei to let them go. He also mentioned the mistakes made by the Fujine family. That person will come to judge for himself, but Dawei did not know who the old man meant by that person, had already appeared behind him. The officer discovered the villagers' secret of cannibalism and tried to arrest them. Suddenly, he was attacked by a monstrous old man. The villagers watched helplessly as the monster dragged away the unconscious police officer, but no one dared to come out and stop it. Previously, the previous officer in the village also disappeared mysteriously. After discovering the secret that the monster ate people, and according to the clues, Dawei found that the people of the Fujine family in the village had the custom of eating the dead. But strangely enough, Officer Dawei, who had been attacked, woke up already lying on a hospital bed. He touched his head wound, but he completely could not remember what happened before he fainted. At that moment, the hat guy from Fujine came with villagers, entered and asked about Dawei's condition. Only then did Dawei remember that he had been attacked when he was on his way to the Fujine family's house to investigate the disappearance of the former officer, but his wife beside him told Dawei he misunderstood them. Earlier, the hat guy was worried that other descendants of Fujine might harm Dawei's wife and daughter, so he sent someone to protect them. After hat guy apologized to Dawei, he pushed the young man with the center parting out. The center parted guy told Dawei that the injury on his head was actually caused by his twin brother. He has already turned himself into the police, but Dawei started to remember that he was attacked by a demon-like old man who attacked him with a sickle. But hat guy told Dawei that no such person has ever appeared in the village. Impatient, Dawei began to berate the hat guy and ordered them to leave the room. Hey, the villagers from Fujin who attacked you have not been caught. Do not know where they ran off to. Be careful. After they left, Dawei found his phone was missing. Meanwhile, the bald guy from Fujin is holding Dawei's phone received a message from the coroner. The coroner investigated the severed finger returned by Dawei's daughter. It was confirmed to be from the former officer. There is one more thing, that human saliva was found in the fingertip detection. In other words, he may have been consumed by someone. The bald man learned this news. Using Dawei's phone, he asked the coroner to meet. Dawei worried for the safety of his wife and daughter. He planned to send them out of the village first. On the way, he coincidentally met the old cop's daughter, Xiaojin. Xiaojin handed over her father's last call records to Dawei for investigation. Dawei also noticed in the latest call was a satellite phone. It seems the old officer had requested help from outside, but received no response. Before leaving, Xiaojin told Dawei that the hat guy from the Fujin family was different from the other villagers. Soon, Dawei returned to the police headquarters with his wife and daughter. Dawei shared his investigation findings from the village with the director. He believed that the disappearance of the old cop must be related to the mysterious monster in the village and the Fujin family. But the director told Dawei not to investigate Tangrins any further. At that moment, the coroner called Dawei. However, he did not know that at this time, the coroner had been controlled by the bald man and was deliberately luring Dawei to come to the hospital. After the call ended, the bald man brutally assaulted the coroner. Meanwhile, Dawei was heading to the hospital with his colleague. On the way, they were suddenly shot at. A car behind forced them off the road. They had a car accident in the tunnel. At this time, the long-haired man picked up a shotgun and fired at Dawei frantically. Dawei hid behind the car door. After shooting and wounding one person, he immediately drove the car and knocked over the bald man. Are you going to shoot again? What did you say? If I die, you will never find the old cop. What do you mean by that? Are you suspecting that we killed the old cop? Actually, it was not us. I did it alone. I would do anything to protect the Fujin family. Is not this quite similar to you? Watching the bald man about to suffocate, Dawei recalled his past enforcement scenes. Before Dawei was reassigned to the village, he was an excellent law enforcement officer, but during a criminal arrest, he discovered a pedophile man trying to hurt his daughter. Dawei rushed in and beat the man wildly, but he was stopped by his daughter. At that moment, the man suddenly grabbed a knife. He took control of Dawei's daughter. In the end, Dawei had no choice but to shoot the man, and the gunfire caused his daughter to bleed from her ears and become deaf. So this time, Dawei did not let anger cloud his judgment. He took the bald man to the police station, but just as the bald man got into the car, he gave Dawei a strange smile. The man removes a mask from his face with his hands, revealing hollow eyes and nostrils. The man tells the officer that the scars on his face were exactly caused by being gnawed by the cannibals in his village. The previous officer mysteriously disappeared after discovering the secrets of the cannibals in the village. After the new officer, Dawei captured the bald man from the family. He found the old officer's remains based on clues, but David believes the bald man is taking the blame willingly to clear the family's name, because he clearly remembered what was on his head. The injury was from an attack by an old giant. However, the director who grew up here had asked the villagers in the village, and they all said that they had never seen this person. He again reminded Dawei not to get involved with the Fujin family. At that moment, the hat guy from Fujin came over. He exchanged a glance with the bald man. Then he knelt down and began to pray at the corpse. Helpless, Dawei had no choice but to share this news to the old officer's daughter. At that moment, the director came over to arrange that Dawei was assigned to another location. Considering the danger to his wife and daughter, Dawei decided to leave Flower Offering Village. However, when the wife asked her daughter, Mahiro, for her opinion, she said that she wanted to stay here. So, Dawei declined the director's arrangement and chose to remain in Flower Offering Village. Since returning to the village, Mahiro, who used to be taciturn, has also become fond of smiling. However, Dawei is still worried about the old cop's case. It hides unknown information. He found the call records of the old cop before he went missing. Dawei tried calling the last number. It was a satellite phone, but no one answered. The next day, a feast was held in the village. At the table, the village head mentioned that the flower offering village had already suffered from a serious aging problem. Dawei noted that the Fugine family seems very young. The village chief was stunned upon hearing this. Then he asked everyone to quiet down. He revealed the village's secret. In the village, the people of the Fugine family and the others in flower offering village are in two different tribes. Dawei asked the village chief if he knew about the old police officer. What conflict does he have with the Fugine family? However, the other villagers' expressions changed instantly. The village head told Dawei that the residents of flower offering village needed the Fugine family's land for timber to survive. To the villagers, the Fugine family is essentially their employer. In order for everyone to live and work in peace and contentment, they did not dare to have any opposing opinions against the Fugine family, so they had already known about the death of the old cop, but they cannot reveal this secret. Dawei does not want to ruin the dinner atmosphere. He continues to invite everyone to drink. The next day, Dawei and his wife were in their room chatting. They noticed someone was spying on them. When he rushed out, he saw his own house is spray painted with the word murderer. Dawei recognized that the person who was peeping was none other than the yellow-haired guy from the Fugine family, so he quickly drove to the factory. He found the yellow-haired guy, who was already swollen. Long time no see. I just went to the police station and heard this guy is up to something. I am asking you to avoid him this time. Clearly, Hat Guy did this on purpose to protect him, but the yellow-haired guy claims he was just peeping. He did not graffiti on the wall, but the Hat Guy told Dawei not to easily trust those villagers. Just then, he noticed the workers outside had bloodstains on their clothes. Meanwhile, the village head had helped Dawei's wife to clean the house's exterior, but what they did not know was that the head had quietly installed a listening device inside. After Dawei returned, he built a fence outside the house. However, suddenly the village head came over and asked him to take it down because it would hinder the interaction with the neighbors. Dawei briefly agreed before sending the village head away. However, his wife noticed what they did each time. The village head would show up immediately during events. One day, while riding out, Dawei found the villagers looked at him strangely. At that moment, a young man drove up. He warned Dawei not to fight, but Dawei did not understand what the young man meant. I heard the village head gave you some advice. You pulled his clothes and called him an old jerk. I did not call him names or fight. It seems the village head exaggerated. But you do find him troublesome, right? You are the new young cop. You should listen to your juniors. Just say one wrong thing, and the whole village will hate you. In short, just apologize when you see him. After Dawei returned home, his wife also heard from the villagers about the fight with the village head. Dawei said there was no conflict with the village head, but his wife did not want to be criticized by the villagers, so she decided to apologize to the village chief. Just then, the village head appeared at their door again. Village head, you always show up at the right time. Are you watching our every move? Are you sure this is the right time to say that? His wife called out Dawei, hinting for him to be polite to the head. Reluctantly, Dawei bowed and apologized to the head. The village head invited them to tomorrow's annual festival. The next day, Dawei brought his wife and daughter to the site. The residents somehow knew about their apology to the village head. At this moment, Dawei suddenly got a call from the old officer's phone. It was a satellite phone that had gone unanswered. The caller asked Dawei who he was and how he got that phone number. Dawei informed the caller that he was a police officer, and he told Dawei that he had indeed talked to the old cop on the phone before his disappearance. But for the specific details, he wanted to invite Dawei to meet in person offline for a talk. After Dawei received the address from him, he arrived at a ruined building. Once he entered the room, he saw a man behind the glass who contacted him. The man said the old cop was killed for trusting. That is why he was ultimately murdered, and he was the only witness to the village's secret. But Dawei had no idea what he was talking about. The man walked directly in front of Dawei. This face is proof. What? I have been devoured before. It was done by someone from Flower Offering Village. village. Thus, the story of episode 4 in Gannibal ends. The series has 7 episodes, updating every Wednesday. The villager places raw meat on the altar and then rings a bell to summon the cave-dwelling man-eating monster for feeding. In this flower-offering village, the residents have long been hiding the secret of the existence of cannibals all along. Anyone investigating this case will be brutally killed by the monster, but what they do not know is that a child, who was once devoured by the monster, escaped years ago. The child, now grown, reached out to the police who are investigating the cannibal case in the village. Officer Dawe. 18 years ago, he was tied up by the villagers. He was sacrificed as an offering during a festival, and with the little bit of consciousness he had left, he saw a big mouth gnawing at his own face. When he woke up, his mother had already held him close. They had fled flow-offering village and lived in hiding, but as he grew up, he discovered that he had no birth records or identification. For years, the faceless man has been investigating the reasons why flow-offering village devoured people. He suspects that the people of flower-offering village use newborns as sacrifices to feed a monster. The new officer, Dawe, also noticed the severe aging problem in flower-offering village. Dawe questioned the faceless man about what relationship he had with the previously missing old cop and why he had shown up now. The faceless man told him that tomorrow is the start of another festival in flower-offering village. At that time, new sacrifices will surely appear. By the next day, the residents of flower-offering village had already starting to practice the festival dance. Just as Officer Dawe returned to the village head questioned him about who he met last night, but evidence of the cannibals has yet to be found. Dawe could not directly reveal the existence of the faceless man. Just then, a man with glasses stepped out, interrupting the village head's conversation. The villagers instantly showed respect upon seeing him. The man explained that due to his grandfather's illness, he would host this year's festival ceremony. Everyone was glad to hear the news. They congratulated the man with the glasses man. Then the man led Dawe to a secluded spot. He told him to leave flower-offering village with his wife quickly. The villagers here are very hostile to outsiders. They impose their rules on newcomers. Staying here any longer could likely lead to trouble. You might end up like the old cop and face harm. But Dawe said that his daughter, who had been taciturn since staying in the village, had become a lot happier. The glasses man told Dawe that for centuries, flower-offering village has used humans for sacrificial rituals. Since the land is not suitable for farming and there is no food, they sacrifice children to the gods to reduce the population. Is it really just killing? What do you mean by that? Are you asking this? Did they also eat them after killing them? Before he could finish, the villagers rushed over. The glasses man secretly handed his business card to Dawe. The next day, Dawe received a message from a stranger. The message asked him to go to room 801 at the hotel. The sender claimed to know about the previous old officer's murder secret in flower-offering village. So during the evening party, Dawe used the restroom as an excuse. He avoided the villagers' surveillance and headed to the destination. Upon entering the room, Dawe met a man named Lao Yu. You must have seen a man with a chewed face. He was the one who contacted me. He said I can trust you. Previously, Lao Yu had been managing a forum and looking for information on cannibalism. He also found Faceless Man through this site. Then he met Old Cop to investigate the secrets of Flower Offering Village. They found that Flower Offering Village was using undocumented children to feed the cannibals. At first, Lao Yu did not believe it until he saw the wounds of Faceless Man being eaten. Then he was convinced. But Dawe did not understand how the villagers hiding the child's birth. Old Yu told him that the probability of stillbirth among children born in Flower Offering Village was very high. Originally, Old Yu was investigating the clues about stillbirths a month ago, but suddenly he received the news of the old cop's disappearance. Dawe realized the last call the old cop made before disappearing was neither from Old Yu nor from the Faceless Man. It was an informant in Flower Offering Village who secretly informed the old cop about the child's hiding place. And just when the old cop arrived at the destination, and then he was brutally murdered. Just find the informant who made that call, then the mystery can be resolved. Meanwhile, a strange woman at the party saw Dawe's daughter and picked her up. When Dawe's wife noticed that the woman was holding her daughter, the woman quickly apologized to her. The village head quickly came over to explain. The woman was his daughter, Xiaonai. Xiaonai had also become pregnant 3 years ago, but ultimately, the baby died in the womb. However, Xiaonai denied the village head's words. The child is still alive. My child is still alive. I believe he is still alive. The village head quickly pulled Xiaonai out. As a result, Dawe's wife saw the scars on her back. Wait, Mr. Wait a moment. This is from when she fell down recently. I saw everything. You have had enough. He is still moving. You said he wasn't breathing. But he's still moving. It was the old lady from the Fujine family who took my child. Dad. Have you had enough? Hurry and give me back my child. Give him back. Xiaonai screams that her child is not dead. He was taken by someone from the Fujin family. In the end, the village head forcibly dragged Xiaonai back to the room. Soon, after Dawei returned, his wife told him about what happened between the village head and Xiaonai. To get to the bottom of it, Dawei went to Xiaonai's home to ask, but when the village head saw that Dawei was looking for Xiaonai, he refused to let him in. Miss Kanako, I heard that your child was taken by Goto Jin. Can you explain to me what happened in detail? Kanako, shut your mouth. Come over here. I will wait for you at the police station. You can tell me anything. Meanwhile, the descendants of the Fujin family, Hat Guy inherited his grandmother's position. Dawei found the Glasses Guy again to ask the relationship between the villagers and the Fujin family. The Glasses Guy told Dawei a long time ago, this is the territory of the Fujin family. The villagers moved in and relied on the Fujin family for survival. This created an employer-employee relationship. But in recent years, the villagers discovered that Fujin's grandmother had stolen their children and cruelly killed them. Dawei did not understand how Fujin's grandmother had quietly taken away the villagers' children. The Glasses Guy told him that Fujin's grandmother was the only midwife in the village. Dawei finally understood that Fujin's grandmother had taken the children during childbirth. At this moment, Dawei's wife found Xiaonai in the park. She came over to ask about her child and what happened with the Fujin family, but Xiaonai kept this secret to herself. She left the scene without saying a word. However, in the evening, Xiaonai sneaked into Dawei's house while her father was drunk. The secret about the Fudge family's child stealing, I believe it will soon be revealed. Thus, the story of the 5th episode of Gannibal comes to an end. There are a total of 7 episodes, updated every Wednesday. The woman just gave birth to a daughter, but the midwife told her the baby had stopped breathing. Yet Xiaonai, the woman, saw her daughter's hand move. It moved slightly, but the midwife took her away. The midwife's purpose was to take the baby to feed a human-eating monster in the village. In this village, every year during the ritual, they sacrifice living children. The villagers have always hidden this secret about the human-eating monster. Since Xiaonai's daughter was taken away, her father, as the village head, has insisted she accept that the child is gone. Xiaonai secretly told the police officer who was investigating the cannibalism case in the village, Dawei. At that moment, Dawei's wife called, claiming the village head had brought people to their house to question where Xiaonai had gone. When Dawei brought Xiaonai back home, he was grabbed by a bearded man from the Fujin family who grabbed his hair. Dawei retaliated by choking him, asking other villagers why they feared the Fujin family. However, the village head did not answer Dawei's question. He took Xiaonai straight home. After the bearded man returned, he discussed it with the descendants of the Fujin family. They planned to eliminate Dawei to avoid future troubles. The head of the Fujin family, Hat Guy, heard this. He said nothing and picked up his shotgun. The next day, Dawei organized the clues and he wanted to quickly find the hiding places of those children. At that moment, Hat Guy arrived at Dawei's police station. He invited him to go hunting. Upon entering the jungle, Hat Guy asked Dawei, why is he investigating our own Tintin family? Dawei replied that there are conflicts between the villagers and the Fujin family. There must be some hidden secrets. Hat Guy picked up a gun and pointed it at Dawei, and brought up the matter that he had killed someone for the sake of his daughter before. Hat Guy said he would also protect the Fujin family and deal with their obstacles. The next moment, Hat Guy twisted the gun's barrel, shooting a small deer nearby. It seems that Hat Guy did not intend to eliminate Dawei, and this scene was witnessed by the fat guy from the Fujin family. The fat guy told Beard Man about this, so they discussed and decided to take action themselves. When Dawei returned home that night, he found his daughter, Mahiro, had been missing for several hours. Dawei's wife quickly went to the village head's house, asking him to contact the fire department to initiate a search announcement. However, when the village head arrived with the villagers at Dawei's house, he showed an indifferent expression. Dawei scolded as he saw the villagers' expressions. If something happens to his daughter, I will not let them go. Just then, his wife received a phone call. She learned that their daughter was playing under the bridge with a neighbor boy. Upon hearing this, the village head teased Dawei for being too impulsive. He resembled the former village police officer. The former officer was brutally killed for investigating the secret of cannibalism in Flower Offering Village. The next day, the coroner contacted Dawei and told him something about the former officer and Fujin's grandma. It turns out the old officer had asked a coroner to investigate a strange illness in the village. because at that time, the old officer had brought the crazy midwife grandma to his hospital for medical treatment. The coroner saw the midwife grandma from the Fugine family trembling all over. She even had a chilling smile. The coroner detected a disease called madman disease on the midwife grandma's body. This illness primarily spreads through consuming human remains. The villagers have always kept this secret. They do not want others to know this disease exists in the village. The coroner found records of past villagers' illnesses. There were cases of insanity in the past in Fulwer Offering Village. It was a 6-year-old boy. He had no household registration or birth record. Dawei asked the coroner if this boy were still alive, how old would he be? The coroner told him this record was from 1951, post-war, so he would be over 75 years old now. Dawei, who had come to his senses, finally realized that the man-eating monster in the village must be this grown-up boy. But the coroner believes this virus is fatal. It is impossible to survive this long. If he is still alive, then this monster must have mutated. At night, the village head and the villagers lit a bonfire. They practiced for the memorial ceremony. The ceremony is less than 3 days away. The glasses man in charge told Dawei, in the past, Flower Offering Village used to sacrifice people, but that custom no longer exists. Now, they use straw men for the ritual. At that moment, Dawei noticed a pregnant woman in the corner. This made him eager to solve the case quickly. Somewhere in Flower Offering Village, there must be children who will be eaten on the day of the festival. These people are all human eaters. You will eat humans. On the other side, the head of the Fugine family, Hat Guy, took his brother Xiaoyang to the underground tunnel, and only some descendants of the Fugine family knew about this place. Hat Guy told Xiaoyang that he could not tell anyone about this place. Then he threw a hood to him. When they walked into the dungeon, they saw several children trapped here. The Hat Guy told him that this child would be used 2 years later. The one beside was for use 1 year later, and a little boy in the next room would be sacrificed at the memorial ceremony 3 days later. There are still 3 days left until the offering festival. You are responsible for taking care of these children, and you have to wash their bodies clean until the day of the festival. All these were my jobs in the past. From now on, it will be your responsibility. This is the inevitable path for those of a direct bloodline. It is the preparation for the offering to that person. Then Hat Guy served the dishes on the plate. The child inside devoured it like a wolf. Do they look like human beings to you? Meanwhile, Dawei figured it out. He plans to leave Flower Offering Village with his wife and daughter. Before setting off, Dawei realized that he had taken out the locator hidden by the villagers from under the car. However, not long after they set off, they were followed by a car behind them. Dawei quickly stepped on the accelerator and drove out from the inner lane, shaking off the pursuit of the car behind. The man who was following was just dazzled by the high beams of the oncoming car and crashed into the guardrail beside him. Then, Dawei found his friend, Officer Dashin, and entrusted his wife and daughter to him. Dawei then turned back to the village to continue investigating the cannibal case, although his wife pleaded with him not to, but Dawei insisted on uncovering the truth. On the other side, the bearded man found Hat Guy, the head of the Fugine family, and said that he did not quite trust Xiaoyang, because Xiaoyang had had a very good relationship with the old cop in the past. The bearded man did not want another traitor to appear in the Fugine family. Hat Guy thought that as long as he believed his younger brother would abide by the family rules and get through this year, there would be no problem. Even if it is Xiaoyang, if he cannot be up to the task, you know what to do, right? Of course. Everything we do is for the Fugine family. In the afternoon, Dawei just returned to the village. He watched the Fugine family from the mountain, but he did not expect to be spotted by the bearded man behind him. He pushed Dawei down the mountain. Do you think you, an outsider, can change our village? At this time, Dawei told him that someone from the Fugine family had tipped off that children would be sacrificed at the memorial ceremony. Who said such a thing? There must be a traitor among you. It is among the members of the Fugine family. Hearing this, the bearded man immediately flew into a rage and pinned Dawei to the ground, beating him hard. Dawei picked up a wooden stick and fought back with all his might, but in the end, he was still knocked down by the bearded man. On the next day, all the members of the Fugine family began to tidy up their clothes and get ready to take a group photo. Just at that moment, Hat Guy, the head of the family, received from Xiao Jin, the daughter of the old cop. Xiao Jin told him that she was already pregnant, and the child was his. Suddenly, the bearded man interrupted the Hat Guy's conversation, and informed him that the ceremony was about to begin. Grandma, from today on, I am in charge. On the way there, he remembered what Grandma said to them. Back then, she told the descendants of the Fugine family that none of the villagers here were human beings, and only you in front of me were human beings. You think so too, right? On the night of the festival 16 years ago, there was someone in the Fugine family who held a different opinion. I don't think that guy was human. He was a being even worse than a beast. You are not separate individuals. Because existing separately would put this family in danger. She would never allow the people of the Fugine family to behave rebelliously. However, they could never have imagined that the younger brother, Xiaoyang, had different ideas from them. He sees the child before him as a living person. Thus, the story of the 6th episode of Gannibal ends. Next Wednesday, the finale will be revealed. The child was bound to a stone slab during the festival, prepared as a sacrifice for the village's cannibal monster. As the man in black shook the bell in his hand, a strange bearded monster emerged and began to devour the child. In this village, the Fugine family steals children from the villagers. They use them as offerings for the annual ritual, and tomorrow marks a new round of the festival. When Officer Dawei was conducting an investigation, he was attacked by the bearded man from the Fugine family. When Dawei woke up, he found that he had been tied up in front of everyone in the Fugine family. Dawei questioned Keisuke, the head of the Fugine family, asking where the stolen children were hidden as they should still be alive. At this moment, the bald man, who was enraged, rushed out. He punched Dawei. However, Dawei told them that they could put all the crimes of stealing children on Grandma Fugine, because it was she who took away the children, in the name of helping the villagers with childbirth. After hearing these words, the bald man kicked Dawei to the ground directly, and by chance, it enabled Dawei to touch a stone on the ground. So Dawei continued to deceive him, and secretly untied the ropes behind his back. At this moment, the bald man rushed forward again with a sickle in his hand, but as a result, Dawei grabbed him by the neck from behind. The people of the Fugine family immediately picked up their hunting guns, and pointed them at Dawei, but he was not panicked at all, because he knew that if the people of the Fugine family killed him, the police would definitely conduct a thorough investigation into the matter of the cannibals. Just then, Dawei's direct superior, the director and the village mayor walked in. The director ordered Dawei to let go of the bald man and apologize to the Fugine family. He then took him out of the room. The mayor also advised Fugine's head, Keisuke, not to cause any disputes before the festival ceremony. On the way back, Dawei questioned the director about why he had constantly prevented him from investigating the Fugine family, but the chief told Dawei that it was actually him disrupting the police department's plans. After the former old officer died in the village, the chief had set up 5 detectives to investigate the flower offering village. They examined the bones of the former officer, and judged that he had also been eaten by someone when he was alive. Dawei told them that the one who had eaten the body was exactly the monster that the Fugine family had been worshipping all along. It was over 2 meters tall, and had once attacked Dawei on the head. However, the criminal police checked the family tree of the Fugine family, but did not find the person described by Dawei. At this time, the director told Dawei that the people of the Fugine family had always attached great importance to blood relations. Now, Fugine Kiyoshi, the mayor of Flower Offering Village, became an adopted son, after marrying into the family, so he could not become the head of the family. However, Grandma Fugine also had a daughter named Fugine Ai. Originally, she should have inherited the position of the head of the Fugine family, but 18 years ago, Fugine Ai mysteriously disappeared and her whereabouts were unknown, and Dawei suspected that 18 years ago, Fugine Ai was very likely to have rescued a child at the festival ceremony, because a few days ago, a man whose face had been eaten contacted Dawei, and asked him to investigate the matter of the cannibals in the village. So Dawei deliberately got caught by the bearded man of the Fugine family, and lied that there was a traitor among them who had tipped off the hiding place of the children. Once the bearded man knew that there was a traitor in the family, he would surely come to the dungeon to check on the children's situation at the first opportunity, and the person the bearded man suspected the most was Yosuke, the younger brother of Keisuke, who was the current head of the Fugine family. I am asking you, are you the traitor? I am not. I have not spoken to that police officer since the bear incident. You died. You were quite close to the old cop back then, right? You already knew about this place. Let him find his way here. It was not me. I would not do such a thing. I would never betray the Fugine family. Because Yosuke was friends with the old cop in the village. Although Yosuke strongly refuted that he had not betrayed the family, he was still locked in a cage by the bearded man. Do not worry. It is okay. However, what the bearded man did not expect was that Dawei had already asked his friend to follow him and found the hiding place of the children. But just when Dawei received the address and was about to set off, he was stopped by the chief, who asked him to take action tomorrow, because tomorrow is the festival ceremony in Flower Offering Village, and everyone will gather near the shrine. By then, there will be far fewer people guarding the underground cave. The nearby detective also told Dawei that only by finding the child as evidence would the special operations team join the mission. Afterward, the director arranged for a female officer to go to protect Dawei's wife and daughter. But after the female officer got in, the driver claimed the note with Dawei's wife and daughter's address is missing. The female officer had to pull out her phone. She read it out to the driver. Dawei got in touch with the faceless man and asked him to come forward as a witness to accuse the Fugine family of being cannibals. In this way, the police could send the special search task force to the cave to rescue those children. Moreover, Dawei also told the faceless man that the mother, who had rescued him back then, was Fugine AI from the Fugine family. Until now, the faceless man finally realized that his mother was actually related by blood to those who had eaten him. My mother is still alive. She told me I am human. For me, in this world, my mother is the most important person, but I want to save my past self. If my mom is willing to go with me, I will step forward. I will say everything. I will leave the follow-up matters to you. Leave it to me. Let's get in touch again. Dawei believes the faceless man will speak out. Just give him some time. The faceless man finds his mother to persuade her to cooperates with the police investigation. On the police side, there are people we can trust. Just go meet that person. The police. However, after the mother learned that the faceless man had contacted the police, she warned him not to act on his own. The faceless man asked his mother if she was still protecting the people of the Fugine family until now. You got it wrong. I am the one being protected. At this moment, mother recalls her past. She raised her children, Keisuke and Yosuke. Later, Grandma Fugine told her to leave Flower Offering Village, and then, Keisuke and Yosuke would be raised by Grandma Fugine. What am I supposed to do with such sudden news? Are you talking back to me now? No, I am not. How am I supposed to live? I do not know how else to go on. So, please tell me. In that case, choose death. After school, Keisuke saw his mother forcing a smile. He started to mock her as well. The enraged mother tightly gripped Keisuke's neck, but quickly let go of her hands. It felt like he finally talked to his mom properly. On the day of the festival ceremony, the people of the Fugine family locked a child on a stone slab. After everyone fed the child a piece of raw meat, they began to ring the bell and summoned a monster. The next second, a tall man climbed up to the child and began to gnaw at his face. But at that moment, the mother, Fugine AI, couldn't bear to see the child die. She snatched the torch and set the monster on the sacrificial altar on fire. Grandma Fugine quickly asked everyone to put out the fire on the monster's head. Taking advantage of the chaos at the scene, Fugine AI quickly untied the rope and tried to carry the child away. However, just as Fugine AI was about to reach the exit, she was blocked by them. Grandma Fugine hated traitors in the family the most. Just when she was about to shoot and kill Fugine AI, suddenly Keisuke behind her fired a gun to stop everyone. Wait, Grandma. If you are going to kill my mom, I will also kill myself. Just let them go. What if this woman tells others the secret? If she lets it slip, then I will die for her. If Mom cannot keep the village secret, I will die. If Grandma does not let her go, I will kill myself too. Just like that, Keisuke used his own life to protect his mother and let her leave, and promised that she would not expose the secrets of the village. Out of respect for her grandson Keisuke, Grandma Fugine also let Fugine AI go, and the faceless man was precisely the only sacrificial child that Fugine AI had rescued from the village. After learning all the truth, the faceless man did not want to embarrass his mother, so he refused to answer Dawei's call. On the beard man's side, he was still frantically looking for the traitor in the family. Whenever he found someone suspicious, he would use force. In the evening, the priest with glasses at the village festival found Keisuke, and discussed putting an end to the cannibals in the village. In the past, two people held great power. One was Ms. Jin, the head of the Fujin family, who has passed away now. The other was my grandfather, who served as the priest. He does not have much time left either, so it is just the two of us in charge now. That means, as long as we cooperate, we can get those kids released. Where did you hear such absurd things? However, Keisuke does not want to betray his family and turns to leave. The glasses guy questioned him why he did not put an end to everything and let those children go. But Keisuke tells him he has no choice. Meanwhile, Dawei sees the director not taking action. He decides to go to the cave and rescue the kids himself. The detective who was watching all this from the rooftop did not stop Dawei, because he thought that only when Dawei died would the special investigation team take action. However, David was unaware when he arrived at the dungeon. An accident had occurred to his wife and daughter. After the female officer walked in with the driver, she realized that the driver was not from the police force. My last name is not Yamashita. My last name is Fujin. On Dawei's side, after prying open the door of the underground cave, he found that the children inside had already been transferred by someone.